For the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us today. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Look, now that we are the home of the Utah Mammoth, hockey is now live. Let me tell you how it goes at my house, JJ. We have these miniature plastic goals and the little Franklin mini plastic sticks, and it's all my boys do during these games when we watch them.
That's great.
And it's just we have a big long tile area. We take the little running carpet off of it, and they are sliding back and forth on that thing on their socks. And they have no shot when I'm in goal. By the way, no shot. All right, so that's what it's turned into.
You need to take it one step further. You need to get them out on the ice with some skates.
I know. We got to do it.
They're young. It'll be perfect.
We got all these youth development programs. I want to say, hey, you can be the next whatever version of this Florida Panthers team is. 10 years ago, of course, maybe even 7 years ago, this Florida Panthers team was looked at, and the franchise knew that they were kind of looking around going, not a lot of people in the seats. We got to kind of figure this thing out. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars, by the way. All natural ingredients and no preservatives. Make the protein bar, the G2G Bar, the perfect protein bar. Let's get into it here. The cut, the top of the hour, brought to you by Doug Smith Dealerships and American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Joining us on the program right now is Dave Dwork. He covers the Florida Panthers for The Hockey News. He's been on the program before. Dave, thanks for being with us today, man.
No, thanks for having me back on, fellas.
Oh, what's like the number of Victor E. Rats that end up on the ice by the end, do you think? I mean, if you were to kind of just give a guess, on a normal night, there's one number, but on a Stanley Cup clinching night, the Victor E. Rats must have been out in force.
Yeah, there was probably at least a couple hundred varied different sizes, shapes, some of them covered in beer, some of them covered in ice. May or may not have been walking around plucking a couple off the ice for my kids, and
there you go.
Threw a few back that were less than favorable, but I mean they were caught in the netting above the glass. They were everywhere. It was raining rats for sure.
Can you describe what that's like? People here in Utah now, this is something that could actually happen here, and so I think people are really curious. You're there down, you get to witness all this. This is 2 years in a row they've been able to experience this. What's it like to watch a team celebrate a Stanley Cup?
It's hard to describe, especially after seeing them come up short the year before in 2023 in Vegas when, so much of the team was just decimated by injury. So to see kind of how this team has evolved and built into something and such a cohesive unit, and we talk a lot about how just great of a locker room it is and the camaraderie that they have built in that room. So to see them come together and it was really something that I'm happy that I was able to be a part of and to witness. Seeing it now year over year and kind of the maturation of how they've become a team, become champions, and now back-to-back champions, and just the way that they carry themselves. It's incredibly unique, especially in this day and age where you just don't see teams have that kind of sustainable success. And then when you combine that with what I said before about how it's just so many great guys in that locker room, it's just been really cool to see come about.
Compared to last year, I mean, obviously it was a weird series last year because you go up 3-0 if you're the Panthers on this same Edmonton Oilers team. And then the Oilers scratch and crawl and get back to it, and then they end up losing that in that ultimate Game 7, so that the Panthers did end up clinching. But this was an extremely this Oilers group was, getting better through the playoffs, fortified by the idea of, hey, we're not going to let that happen. We don't know when we're going to get back. But this is our chance. We got a couple of the best players on the entire planet. How is it that this Edmonton Oilers team, what is it that made them fall short? Is it just as simple as saying that their goaltending let them down in this series?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just it's really hard to keep up with the Panthers team. They play a style of hockey that's incredibly hard to go against, particularly in a 7-game series because it's so physically demanding. And credit to Edmonton, they marched through the Western Conference playoffs. They looked like a powerhouse team. Both teams looked better than they did last year when the final began. And Edmonton, they should have had plenty of confidence that they did things to the Panthers no one else had done. They came back from a 2-goal deficit to win in Game 1. They came back from a 3-goal deficit to win in Game 3. These incredible overtime games that played out. Like, it was, the first few games we were talking about, is this one of the best Stanley Cup finals that we've ever seen? And then Florida kind of pulled away towards the end. And I think the combination of the overtime games, the extra minutes, and how heavy they were utilizing McDavid and Draisaitl, combine that with just how physical the Panthers play against you. And it just seemed like the Oilers ran out of gas, and they looked, much less formidable in Games 5 and Game 6 than they did earlier in that series. And I think that's just a testament to how difficult it is to try to keep up with this Panthers team in a 7-game series.
3 straight Cup appearances, 2 straight Stanley Cup victories. The Panthers feel like the makings of a dynasty. But in the NHL, it's really hard to win a cup. No one's won 3 in a row since the Islanders won 4 in a row back in 1980, in the early 80s. What do the Panthers have to do to be able to pull that off next year?
Stay healthy, get another great year from a aging Sergei Bobrovsky, who seems like he's drinking from the fountain of youth because he has shown zero signs of any kind of aging. Forget about it. He looks just as good. He looked just as good in this final as he has the last several playoffs, and he's going to be 37 years old next season. So, if Bob can continue to be Bob, and the Panthers don't get decimated by injuries, because if you look at the roster, so many guys are going to be coming back next year. And even the holes that they've had to fill over the last several years, every year Bill Zito finds a way to bring in guys, because there are plenty of hungry players that would love to come play for the Panthers, have a great year, and then cash in a la, the Brendan Montours, the Oliver Ekman-Larsons of the world, guys that came to Florida not as, certainly not as high reputable, and then boom, they can either choose to stay and take a team-friendly deal like a lot of the guys have, like Carter Hagee, Sam Reinhart, Gus Forsling, or they can go out in the free agent market and cash in. And it's really win-win for everybody, because Bill Zito, he's an incredibly, incredibly intuitive general manager. Between him and Paul Maurice, they've got their finger on the pulse of this team so well that there's no reason for anybody not to be confident that they'll be able to fill any holes that pop up.
Are there holes that could pop up with free agency, or do they feel pretty confident they can keep guys like Sam Bennett and others in the fold?
I mean, potentially. Right now the 3 big names that are going to be free agents are Sam Bennett, you mentioned, Aaron Ekblad, the top pairing right-hand shooted defenseman, and then Brad Marchand, who was, came, within a whisker of winning the Conn Smythe Trophy after an incredible trade deadline acquisition by Florida there. So there is a path for Florida to keep all 3, but they're all, as I mentioned before, guys have made it a trend to take team-friendly deals. And will these guys all fall in line? It's possible. Aaron Ekblad has made no secret about how much he wants to stay in Florida and retire a Florida Panther. And Sam Bennett as well. Like, he has a great relationship with Bill Zito. He's very happy living in South Florida. And I think these players understand that what they're doing is just so unique and it's just so hard to come by, that do you really want to take a little bit of extra money just to go somewhere and leave something that comes along every few, maybe once a generation, a team in a situation like this? So should a hole pop up, and you would think, just for example, if Aaron Ekblad signs elsewhere, suddenly Florida, while they have a very deep defensive core, you're missing a top pairing guy who Paul Maurice said over and over this year when he was out of the lineup, how important he was to Florida's 5-man defensive game and keeping things very sustained. So I'm definitely curious to see how it plays out and what Zito has to do should any of those guys not end up re-signing. But as I said, his track record would indicate nothing that he's not going to be able to fortify Florida's lineup with, whatever options he has.
The parity in the NHL is unmatched when it comes down to it. I mean, the reality is Florida winning. People knew how good of a team they were, and it's really hard to run into a buzzsaw like that. But at the same time, the NHL is so competitive, and the playoffs become its own thing as well. And so the Panthers getting that win makes it even more exceptional. I'm looking at way too early odds for the Stanley Cup for next season. The Oilers and the Panthers back at the top of that list in terms of teams who they think have the best odds. You got teams like the Hurricanes in the East. You also have out of the East the Lightning, the Devils. In the East, who can actually compete with this Florida Panthers team if they get a good majority of this roster back, or they build a team and they obviously still have this same vibe of how they're going to keep going on here? Who challenges Florida next year?
You always think about Tampa. They've got so many great players, and obviously John Cooper is one of the best coaches that the NHL has seen in a long time. But Tampa, a lot of us said down here, whoever came out of that first round series between Florida and Tampa is probably going to end up in the Cup final. It's just, between you got Vasilevsky, Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, you add Jake Gensel to that mix. It's been really cool to just see the rivalry grow between the two teams. Thinking back to this year's playoff, I mean, the only team that beat Florida 3 times in a series was the Toronto Maple Leafs. They gave Florida a really good run for their money. They were this close if they overtime in Game 3 from going up 3-0 in that series over the Panthers, and who knows what would have happened at that point. So it's interesting just because they're all in the same division, and then you've got teams like the Ottawa Senators who are certainly a rising team. The Washington Capitals looked great this year during the regular season. They with what Ovechkin did. It was just a lot of fun to keep track of. So, I think the East might be a little bit more open in terms of below the Panthers than the West, just because the West is just so competitive, really top to bottom. It's so much fun. But I'm just, team year over year, you never know, because 2 years ago, Tampa Bay was maybe not looking as good as they are now. They retooled a little bit. Toronto maybe losing one of their best players. We don't know how that's going to play out. So it's hard to start evaluating for next season until we see how the offseason plays out. But there's certainly going to be plenty of teams that are looking to knock Florida off the mountaintop.
I can't imagine what that celebration was like around town last night, but it sounds like it got a little too ruckus because someone cracked and dented the Stanley Cup. Is this true?
I think this is becoming an annual thing. Like every year something happens to the cup.
It's too big of a cup to not dent a little bit. Come on.
Yeah, these are grown men that are celebrating, the time of their lives. Like I think nobody seems to get too worried about it. I think they were more upset when they brought the cup into the ocean last year than when it gets dented. I think it's no harm, no foul. There was a big dent in the bottom. I think that the top of the cup got chipped. They're going to have to take care a little bit, but it's all, nobody's trying to hurt the cup. And I think the cup keepers are fully aware of how much stress and what kind of beating it can take. And, the cup's been around for a while. It's tough. I'm sure it can take it.
It's probably fitting that a hockey trophy gets banged up a little bit and it's just fine, right?
Come on. Yeah. It's got a history.
Hockey players all have teeth missing, so it made sense that the cup would have some cosmetic work done. It falls perfectly in line.
I did watch a thing one time where they kind of went through and showed like all of the different it wasn't even just like spelling errors or anything like that. It was like it's the kind of thing where you drive by your local favorite fast food restaurant and they don't have any S's, so they use the dollar sign. There's a lot of instances of that on the cup over the decades and decades and decades of names that so many are now lost to the lore of.
There's no better trophy in sport.
There cannot be. So, what about out of the West? If you start to look at it, and we of course have that mammoth kind of look at things, but for a lot of us, we look and we say, "Hey, there's no way that this market wants to stay out of the playoffs another year." We just don't know where they are in that process exactly of rebuilding, and the West is and the Central Division is a very difficult place to compete.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Utah only missed the playoffs, I think, by like 6 or 7 points, and they were right in it till the end. And that's a team, first, they're really trying to build an identity right now. They had a great young core that they were able to come out of Arizona. So I wouldn't have any reason to think why Utah wouldn't be within the playoff conversation, even in that tough Central Division, because, Dallas was great this year, but we don't know what they're going to be. They're going to have a new coach. It's never an easy thing to do. Colorado Avalanche, that's an interesting situation because they could be a team that can hit the ground running next year with a healthy now Gabriel Landeskog, which with Mackenzie Blackwood in goal, who was it's exceptionally good for them this season after they traded for him from San Jose. It's a fun division to see play out. And then, obviously you've got the beasts out west, with whether it's Vegas, whether it's Edmonton, the Kings, right? We all thought they were taking the Oilers out in the first round. They could be another team that could take a step forward next season. That's why, like I said before, the West is just so fun for me because it's so wide open. There's so many good teams and good players, and they all seem to hate each other so much that it just makes for great hockey.
You talk to a lot of people in the league. What's the feeling about the offseason? How much action could there be? Pretty decent free agent list. Not sure how many are going to move, but what's the expectation early on of what could happen and how much a deal here or a deal there could move the balance of power?
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes the offseason fun. I mean, Mitch Marner's obviously a big chip. Sam Bennett, whatever he ends up doing is something that everybody's keeping an eye on. But every team's looking to get better. Every team's looking to pick up some kind of an edge at this point. It's going to be interesting this year also to see how things play out with the draft and with trades in that regard, just because this is the first year they're doing the decentralized draft, and all the GMs and everything won't be under the same roof. They'll be at their respective team headquarters and everything like they do in the NFL. So is that going to impact? Could we see more trades, less trades, because they're going to have a lot more privacy and ability to kind of work and do their own thing? So I'm very, very curious and a little bit anxious just to see how it plays out, because the offseason's always fun, but anytime you throw a wrench into the gears and make things a little non-traditional, you never know what could happen.
Dave Dwork, he covers the Panthers for the Hockey News. You can go check out his byline there, and you can just see. Obviously, it's a good time to cover this team, Dave, and we appreciate you jumping in the program again. And we're looking forward to another offseason of some excitement, and we'll chat with you again as the season gets closer here, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, guys. Anytime, happy to do it.
There you go, Dave Dwork. That's a fun thing to do, isn't it? He's probably glad he didn't have to take that return trip over to.
Oh, are you kidding me? A one-game trip to Edmonton? Look, I love Alberta, but no thanks.
Nobody loves Alberta. What are you, Greg Wrubell? Get out of here. Oh, I love Alberta. Come on.
Just sounded like the right thing to say.
You're like, come on, man. No, look, if we're talking about places that you look around and you go, because last year didn't they have that lady in the stands? Didn't they have the lady in the stands with the shirt? She got famous.
Yes, they did.
She made herself famous for a day.
You care to elaborate on why?
She just loves Alberta. Okay.
And Alberta loves her.
So I was thinking to myself, Miami's a crazy place. You know, Sunrise is a little different because it's not right there. It's not like
Suburbs,
Miami, yeah. But I'm telling you, like, the fan base there is bonkers. You can't tell me that the fans in Edmonton are less fans than the people in Florida.
Oh no,
like that,
hockey is life up there.
It's the most important thing. And so you saw how that stadium erupted when they got that game winner in overtime. They got a couple game winners in overtime, it feels like. But when they were humming, man. And so to have it ripped out, this is a conversation I was having with one of my friends last time. I was like, there's no way you can just keep going year in and year out and just getting your butt handed to you. And you have legitimately one of the best teams that's been put together. And he said it. He goes, dude, and this is a conversation we had yesterday even too. It's like, get out of the way. Michael Jordan's winning championships.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz are part of that history of that's a really good team.
Just another victim.
And they were.
Mm-hmm.
And you forget about all the teams because of the greatness of what MJ was doing. They're doing the same. It's similar to what they're experiencing right now. The team in Florida is so good that they're good enough to just be like, oh yeah, you guys do have the two best players in the world right now on your team, and it doesn't matter. Like you're just another victim along the way.
The Oilers feel like the Bills right now.
The 90s Bills?
Yeah.
0-4-4? But
those Bills teams were,
phenomenal. Jim Kelly.
Thurman Thomas.
Yes.
They were loaded.
Marv Levy. Come on.
They were there every year, but some other team took it to them every single year. They just happened to meet up with the Dallas Cowboys dynasty.
But see, so they lost 3 of those to the Cowboys.
Well,
no, two to the Cowboys, 1 to the 49ers, 1 to the Giants. And
one to the Washington franchise.
No, I thought
whose name I cannot say.
Was it?
Yeah. Giants, they lost the Norwood.
Yeah. Wide right.
And then they lost to the Washington the next year, and then they lost 2 straight to the Cowboys.
All right. I'm getting my...
I'm trying. I don't want to bring up why I know that.
Okay.
As a Denver Broncos fan, I don't want to bring up why I know that.
Okay. All right.
It was the Broncos that lost
the Cowboys,
the 49ers.
Because the Cowboys... they did?
Badly.
No, yeah, I forgot.
That was the end of that era of Broncos going to the Super Bowl.
Hey, Steve Young. Oh, yeah, because in the middle of all that, you had... you had Joe Montana, you have Steve Young. Steve Young got the monkey off the back with the Chargers in 94.
95, yeah.
95. Yep. So.
You're right. Yeah, the 94 season.
I'm glad we went down that weird thing. All I'm saying is, man, I love Alberta. This time of year, beautiful. All right, well, what's funny about that is I'm actually going to be in Alberta next week now that I think about it.
They have bears in Alberta, so watch out.
Sorry, Canada. I'm trying to diss on you. All right. We'll take the break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. By the way, if you want to get your product featured right here on this very program, JJ and I want to be able to help you with that. How do we do it? Well, you just text us the letters JJ to 57500, and our sales staff will get a hold of you, and you can have your product featured. Look, just ask them how it works and see how we can make your business or your company or your product fly. Let's do it. Just go to, just send a text, JJ, to 57500, and we'll have you on JJ and Alex as our next great victory of a company who does an awesome job advertising with us, and then we pump your product up, man. It's awesome. So go check it out.
We have a lot of clients that we've helped, and you can be the next one.
Let's go. JJ to 57500. We will come back. We've got more to go when we return, so stay here. Around the corner, we've got ourselves a couple fun things to talk about. Oh, we got fights in the WNBA. That's one way to get me to watch. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dial!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Clark muscling away.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected.
So they're going to go and look at it.
Hey, good hands by Allen, but Sheldon comes up with the steal. Sheldon going coast to coast. And here we got another break is here as J.C. Sheldon goes right after Sophie Cunningham. It was a hard foul, no question.
Mabry. That's a flagrant foul. It's a hard foul. You could say it's a play on the ball, but...
Shocker, the WNBA, JJ, has announced that none of the players involved in the skirmishes last night are going to get ejected. You know why?
Because they just made the WNBA a lot of money?
But not only that, you know why? You kick a couple of them out, you probably have to at least consider suspending Caitlin Clark maybe for the shoves back and forth. Why not?
She didn't throw a punch.
No. But you're in that, and you're not going to suspend Caitlin Clark, though.
No.
You're not going to. I'm telling you, you and I talked about this. We watched the video a couple times, went back and forth. What's going on here? The referees did not have control of that situation. They didn't even know what to call. Today, the WNBA had to come out and say, yeah, it's a flagrant 2 on this one. You cannot, you can't body slam basically a player and then not get a foul to go along with it. So it was the best thing. This is terrible. This is awful. This is not how you want to build your league. But it helps. Right?
We're talking about it on the radio right now.
We never would.
Probably not.
Like, I say never. That's not, I'm not saying that because we don't, it's not
if it was the Utah
audience.
Sun or the Utah Fever, we'd probably mention them a little bit more. But it's not. But Caitlin Clark is a superstar. And what we watched last night was incredibly intriguing.
Yeah. And it has brought, the WNBA has had phenomenal players over the past, 15 years that are very recognizable people. And I'm not, listen, Seattle loves the rain, I guess. Are they still that? I don't know if they're that anymore. But Sue Bird, we were there we were there last year, I think, before her retirement, and they flew
Seattle Storm.
Yeah, and before that it was the rain. And what they did was they flew this Sue Bird flag on top of the space when she announced her retirement, and I was like, that's pretty darn cool. And honestly, that town has embraced their WNBA team. There are a lot of towns, obviously, Indiana's loving it because the Pacers are in the finals. They're selling out the games that Caitlin Clark is in with the Fever in town. They won this game, by the way, by almost 20, but that's not what people are talking about. And that's part of the issue that some of the people who are advocates for the league are like, you didn't even care about what the game turned out to be. You just, fighting was the only thing that was important.
They clinched a spot in the Commissioner's Cup.
So,
but no one's talking about that, are they?
Because then I'll have to explain what the Commissioner's Cup is.
We're talking about a fight.
We're talking about a fight. And you know what? Doesn't hurt. And I'm not saying this was a plant, this was anything. But Caitlin Clark as this protagonist, and then all these players coming in and showing up as the heels. I mean, it was a very WWE moment last night. There's a reason we like that back and forth, a little bit of intrigue, a little bit of violence on there. Like we are. This is the closest to mainstream. Like I said, my point was with all this is the closest to mainstream that I've ever seen the WNBA. Is just in the last, and it's not even just the last couple of years. Obviously, Caitlin Clark coming into the league. They've had phenomenal players coming into the league before.
Oh, yeah, sure.
At her level of talent, by the way. She does it a little bit different.
How many of them make threes from the logo?
That's the thing is she's kind of the Steph Curry of like of their league.
A lot of people are calling her the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. I think that's a little strong. I think Steph Curry is actually relevant because of the style of play she has.
She's
is very
changed
similar
the
to
way.
his.
You don't think girls are going to be hitting threes from logos now in their local gyms to try to be the next? And guess what? You're going to end up getting the next one, right? Yeah. And that's why. And that's
in
why
the past the game was dominated by tall women.
Yes, and
then you had Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird come along, but now you have the best player in the league and the most interesting player in the league is knocking down logo threes. It's a new thing, and it's got us watching. And it's drumming up interest for the league. This is part of the evolution of this league. It takes a long time.
It's a weird thing to try to balance, too, because poor Caitlin Clark is in that press conference last night afterward, and they're asking about the fight, and she's like, I thought we were talking about basketball. And it's like, yeah, we are, but can you answer a couple of these questions? So the league's in an awkward thing because you don't want to just be like,
wow.
Yeah, we're going to create some weird tension between Angel Reese and I. That's kind of a weird thing to try to create tension with because there's such a disparity of like what their roles are on their teams, how good their teams are, how many points one person scores versus another. It's not like they match up against one another.
Rarely.
So now, last night, the back and forth, it's a level. By the way, JJ, this is why we get into. I don't care what the gender is of the sport. This is why, like,
be interesting.
We tune
interesting.
In. You know the bench is clear. And I'm not saying that's a formula to try to make your league. It's a cheap thing to do. You're not teaching the kids to go out there and do this. In the end, it's a little bit of a shame because the basketball gets covered up by this, right? It's
the league needs to improve its officiating, which is why this all happened in the first place.
Oh, yeah. The refs
they lost
were
control
out
of the
control.
game.
Yeah, they had no idea how to handle it. And then the league had to step in today and then go through and say, oh, actually you got to do X, Y, and Z, and we'll make this thing happen. Anyway, what I'm saying is that was pretty fun to wake up to today and to see. I mean, it was everywhere. There was nowhere on any social media platform that you could have avoided this.
I showed it on the 10 o'clock news last night.
It was phenomenal.
You know what? A lot of people that love women's basketball, the WNBA, may not like that, but it's a win for the league because people are talking about it today.
Yep.
And you know what else is cool? Sophie Cunningham, her jersey sold out following the ejection.
Wow. Did she it was kind of a weird interaction because it was like bump, 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 then the foul, and then the smack. It kind of like a face, like they both kind of did this thing at each other. Get out of my face. Then the other gal comes over and just absolutely bodies Caitlin Clark to the ground.
But what you have here is you have now this star player in the league who you can't deny it is the most important player in the league now because of the interest that she's bringing to the league. But now you have a team standing up for her.
But how do you create long-term relatability to the league? How do you create long-term excitement about this?
The same way the NBA did it.
You can't tune up a...
Were people watching the NBA in the 70s? It was on tape delay. Nobody cared.
And then it's like, hey, you know what we're going to need right here, Commissioner? And you're not going to like this, but hear me out. And I've already got a name for it. We'll call it the Malice in the Palace. Yeah, that's what they want.
You know what? You joke, but have you watched 80s basketball?
Oh, and in particular...
In early 90s basketball? Did you see what Karl Malone did to Isaiah Thomas's face?
At that building.
Did you see Kurt Rambis get taken out going up at the rim? Like, there used to be fights all the time. Danny Ainge was involved in brawls in the 80s.
When did the guy get hit with the chair? Do you remember that one?
Oh, man, I don't know.
That was some guy came on the court.
There were plenty of fights in the NBA in the 80s. The 70s were wild. Like, just stuff happened. It's part of the evolution of your league and your product. The WNBA is relatively young. This is all part of its evolution. All of it will make the league better. It will get better because of this. The officiating will get better because of this because the league recognizes they got to protect their players. You can't have somebody like poking Caitlin Clark in the eye and body slamming her. That was a little strong. She didn't body slam her, but
I mean, that was
a pretty solid chest bump.
No, and like when you watch it in real time, it was stark. It was like boom,
It was
boom.
very physical.
It was boom, boom.
It was very physical. But you know what? It was fun. The league may not like it. Hardcore WNBA fans may not like it because we're talking about the wrong thing right now, but at least we're talking about it.
All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Hey, when we return, guess what I've got? I got tickets to the Monster Jam World Final that's coming up next. We'll be giving away those tickets. Yes, Monster Jam coming to Rice-Eccles Stadium. Don't want to miss it. And we've got tickets to give away for that. You can nominate the U Sports Volunteer, by the way, that you know, for the Hercules Hero of the Week. The way you do it is just go to KSLSports.com/contest, and then you submit that nomination, KSLSports.com/contest, and then we read those winners off, okay? We pick them from all the nominations that we get, and we get awesome ones, and then they get a prize from Hercules Credit Union and Beehive Meals. There you go. KSLSports.com/contest. The top 10 game up next. Stay here, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex with the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. Presented by G2G Bars. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Wednesday to you. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. We're celebrating here with you. I did it, JJ. Pulled the trigger. I found myself some tickets to Monster Jam for me and my two younger boys.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You're going to have a blast.
So part of the deal is that, like, this is something, okay, when I was a kid, we used to watch it on TV all the time. Now you can go, YouTube videos, you can go watch any of this stuff. But the thing was, it was like broadcast on like our ABC affiliate when I was like a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it was back then, it was, you know, you had the monster trucks and you had the trailer pull too. Remember?
Bigfoot and Gravedigger.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Gravedigger's back, dude. So I did it. I pulled the trigger. I got him for July 5th. And it's the World Finals for Monster Jam happening at Rice-Eccles Stadium. First time ever the World Finals will come to Salt Lake. Check it out for yourself. You can go to Ticketmaster.com for tickets for yourself on this event. And there are tickets available. So go check it out for yourself. Monster Jam is awesome. You've got to go check it out for yourself. And I've got tickets to give to you right now. 801-575-ZONE. Call in number 12 right now. Gets a pair of tickets to see the Monster Jam World Final, July 4th and 5th at Rice-Eccles Stadium. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-9663. Call in number 12. Let's go. Join me and my two boys.
I want to go.
I know, it's so loud. They're so loud. It's awesome. Like, I feel bad for the people around the neighborhood there. Look, they're used to it because it's Rice-Eccles Stadium.
There's concerts there.
Yeah, but it's a different sound.
You're right. And a smell, too.
1,400 horsepower. Between 1,400 and 2,000 horsepower, these trucks, by the way.
Pretty cool.
To turn those big old tires. And they're doing double flips in the air and stuff. You got to check it out. Monster Jam coming 4th and 5th to Rice-Eccles Stadium. It's the World Final. Go check it out. Let me see here. JJ, it's a top 10 game. Our producer, Alex, he always does this. He chooses to give away tickets now because he knows he's not going to be able to help you out. He's claiming that's not true, but he's on the phone right now.
Yeah, you're not helping out. You're giving away tickets.
All right, so
I'm not going to do well today.
Well, I guess you're getting people
My brain's not right today.
Oh, you think you're already... My brain's not right. I'm scrambled up here.
I'm already making excuses. It's not a good sign.
So the WNBA today came out and they started doling out.
Now I'm really in trouble.
No, you're fine. It's based off of this conversation. And it got me down this other road, and I started thinking about it because they gave out flagrant fouls today and technical fouls that they added
retroactively.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what's the point? What are we doing?
Just to be able to say
you're essentially telling everybody, our refs did not handle this very well. We had to go back and handle it properly.
Right, and you have to. You got to get it right. You know? So I went back and I looked, and I found the top 10 NBA players on the technical fouls list of all time. The most technical fouls. All time.
Okay, and they're all Detroit Pistons from the 90s.
Just 100% Detroit Pistons.
That's where I'm going to start.
Going through Bill Lane beer.
Yep.
Come on. All right, so without further ado, 60 seconds you've got.
Okay.
The most technical fouls in the history of the NBA over a career. Ready? And wait, hold on. Let me do something. Don't start it yet. Hold on, because I have I've got a bigger list too, and I wanted to make sure I brought it up because there's going to be some that I know that.
This does not include coaches. This is just players.
No, just players. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I got to make sure I'm sorry for the delay because I just wanted to make sure I got because I have a long older list and then I've got like the most updated one right here. So, all right, here we go. Without further ado, and where did it go? Hold on, stand by. And go.
Draymond Green, Bill Laimbeer. Draymond Green and Bill Laimbeer aren't on there? Oh, my gosh.
You've got some
Dennis
work to
Rodman.
do. Ding.
Okay. Oh, where do I go from here? I mean, Charles Oakley. Oh, wow.
I'm gonna say something though.
Michael Jordan. Scottie Pippen. Man, who's somebody who got in a lot of trouble that's and Dennis
I would encourage you to also think long careers too.
Okay.
So,
Wilt Chamberlain. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Luka Doncic. Jeez. What are we doing here? Like, how are these guys I've mentioned not on the list?
Alex, you don't want to say one name, huh?
He's got nothing. This is bad. Draymond Green's not on there? How is he not on there?
Why is it so funny? Why is it so funny to watch you do this?
Who's left?
Time.
Okay, I'm dying to hear who's on this list.
Who'd you get? Dennis
Not
Rodman?
many.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. The problem is you yelled out Draymond, and as soon as I said no, and then you said
I
Bill
was
Laimbeer,
rattled.
Then you're like, okay, those are the two worst people in the history of the
You
game.
rattled me.
How are they not on the list? All right, here's your top 10. I'll give you number 11 first. Kevin Garnett, number 11.
Really?
172 technical fouls in his career.
Gosh.
Dwight Howard, 10 at 178. Now, go back and think of dirtbag New York Knicks.
Anthony Mason?
Anthony Mason, 192.
I did Charles Oakley. I should have done Anthony Mason.
I was like, go down that road.
Rest in peace,
bit.
Anthony
Right.
Mason.
So 192 technical fouls to Anthony Mason. Russell Westbrook with 198.
Ooh, yeah. No, yeah. I should have thought of him.
This one was a shock to me, but kind of not. Number 7 with 199 technical fouls in his career, Dirk Nowitzki.
What?
Yeah. I thought the same thing.
I never would have guessed Dirk.
Me too. Guess who's right in front of, or guess who's, sorry, not number 7. That would be, oh yeah, no, it was. Number 6 on the list is Dennis Rodman.
Yes.
212.
I got him.
The glove. Gary Payton with 250.
Gary Payton. He was mouthy.
Okay, now we start to get into historic numbers. Into the 300s. So Gary Payton was number 4 at 250. Okay? Historic numbers, 317 technical fouls. Next on the list, Rasheed Wallace. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that's a long career of being rough out there on the
checks.
court. Okay.
That makes sense.
You're going to kick yourself on this one. 329 career technical fouls, Charles Barkley.
Oh, yes.
Number 1 on the career technical fouls list. You're really going to kick yourself. 332 technical fouls, Karl Malone.
Karl Malone is the all-time leader in technical fouls?
Technical fouls in the NBA, Karl Malone.
I had no idea.
I didn't either.
I'm blown away.
I thought for sure it'd be something.
How did I not know that?
I don't know. It's an amazing stat. 332 technical fouls in his career.
That's why they built the statue.
He's also got the most in playoff history. So
of course.
The
mailman really did deliver, didn't he?
He's a bruiser.
I had no idea.
Shocked. Okay. There's your top 10 for the day.
Wow.
We got to take the break here. We'll come back. When we return, Kristen Peek's going to join us, NBA draft analyst and Hoops HQ. She's going to dip into the program a little bit today. We're going to talk draft prospects. We're going to talk all sorts of NBA stuff. And, of course, we have the finals that are almost wrapped up. We'll have if there's an update on some injuries, I'd love to know. Stay here, 97.5 VKSL Sports Zone.